This tip is designed to help you teach yourself how to relax the upper body and let your surfing breathe.
Look at most really good surfers and you'll see that most of the time they're really not doing all that much. Sure, their boards are doing somersaults, but most of the time they're standing there quite composed and looking pretty relaxed. This is because most of their surfing is originating from small shifts of weight, not big wrenching lurches, but small fluid movements of the hips, knees and ankles, based on what they're sensing from their board's interaction with the wave underfoot. But that's not what we do, is it? No, we battle with a thing called upper body tension, which is the ultimate style killer in surfing. If you're like most of us, you do a lot of paddling between waves. You might even say that's mostly what we do when surfing. We paddle, and all this paddling brings on a fair bit of muscle fatigue and stiffness, mostly in the shoulders and upper arms and the back. Then if you're like most of us, when you catch a wave, you do so in a state of some anxiety, excitement, even fear. It's perfectly normal. It's something we don't like to admit. But when you turn and paddle for a wave, oftentimes you're a bit worried about how it'll turn out. So you catch the wave and stand up, you're excited, you're anxious, your paddling muscles are fatigued and stiff, and all this stuff breeds that style killer, upper body tension. So stiffness in the upper body destroys your ability to move gracefully through the bottom half of your body. It transfers directly down through your hips and into the lower half, freezing you to the spot and making any movement through your legs a bit clumsy and overworked. Your reaction time is slowed, your sensitivity to the wave and the board is reduced, meaning it's hard for you to learn from what's actually happening underfoot, and your ability to respond to changes during a move, during a tail drop floater say, or a tricky roundhouse cutback where you've got to change the angle of the turn, you just can't do it. What's even more annoying is that this kind of tension creates feedback that results in exactly the wrong thing happening. You're tense, you feel like you don't have much control because you're tense, so you try to clamp down on the board to control it, and guess what? More tension than ever. So you can kind of self-diagnose this. Does surfing often leave you with a sore neck or lower back? Do you often feel you're standing a little off your board's sweet spot? Do encounters with whitewater while riding, like doing a rebound off a cutback, do they almost always result in some kind of disaster? And do you tend to surf in a crouch or a really low slung stance all the time, not just in some big turns, but all the time? So these are all surefire indicators of upper body tension. See, you didn't even know it was happening, did you? Now, any yoga mistress or martial arts guru will tell you relaxation in the lower limbs will come from relaxation in the upper body. But how do we learn to relax, especially while we're in motion? The only place to work on this is in the water, and the best thing I've ever found to break down upper body tension is this. Go get a big old longboard and teach yourself to cross step. Not shuffle, but actually cross one foot over the other on the way up and down the board. A surfer whose upper body is tense will simply not be able to pull this off. It's freaking impossible. That's why people shuffle up and down longboards instead of cross-stepping, because they're tense. Try this instead. Go out, catch a wave, trim along it, stand upright, consciously relax the muscles of your upper body. Let your shoulders come down, let your hands and fingers relax and go loose. Then see what that does to your ability to cross-step up and down that longboard. You'll be amazed at the difference between what happens when you adopt your typical control stance, tensed and crouched, and when instead you stand straight up and relax and begin to move your feet on the board. Take this feeling, this upper body softness, back to your normal board, and you'll find those little adjustments of hips, knees and ankles suddenly feel way more natural. For many surfers, this is the kind of basic style adjustment that comes right before a big leap in your surfing prowess. So here's another thing to think about, maybe a lesson. Think of your board as being more than just the fins and the tail. Longboard riders have been doing this for generations. They walk up to the nose and do their hang fives and tens, and they're doing more with their boards than many supposedly rad performance board riders even consider. Don't eat their dust. Experiment. Try spinning the tail out and letting the board go backwards for a second or two, then feel the fins back in when the wave backs off. Try taking off backwards, fins first, and spinning the board around nose first again when those fins catch. Surfing's about play. You can waste a session or two in order to loosen up.
learned to cross step, take that onto your normal board, instant difference.